Mamba Stadium in the heart of Kuala Lumpur. You're watching live coverage of the AirAsia ABL Playoffs 2013. Hello everyone, Paul Pilelli alongside Ben Ibrahim and Lenore Lau on hand to bring you this one. We are at Game 3 as the semifinal round shifts over here to Mamba Stadium, Kuala Lumpur. The defending champion Indonesian Warriors now have taken a 2-0 series lead after winning the first two games at home. Ben, the Dragons were without their star center, Marcus Hubbard, for those first two games. How much did that affect?
That affected them big time, Paul, because if you look at the stats, now, Marcus Hubbard, he's 6'10". He will make the difference in the paint, offense and defense. But if you look at the stats, 51 rebounds for Indonesia, 24 for Malaysia. So Marcus Hubbard, he'll want to come in and really help them on the defensive end because they've also been working on defense this week. So defense is a strong offense, they say.
There you have a look at the jersey presentation taking place before the game. Now in the other semi-final round of the playoffs, we have the San Miguel Beermen in the battle against the Sports Rev Thailand Slammers. There you see the Beermen taking a 2-1 series lead, but it wasn't right like that off the start. It was the Slammers who took a 1-0 series lead at the Beermen's. You know, they broke their 16-game winning streak in their house. So the Beermen came back and won the next two games. That's a very exciting series. You saw it last night.
Yeah, well, Daripong Apadong Belaichai, he hit the game winner in game 1, which shows anything can happen in the playoffs. And last night it almost happened again. The Beermen were almost winning by 20 points at halftime in Thailand. But, you know, Thailand, unfortunately, Paul, they left their comeback a little bit too late.
And there you see the other side of the series, a 2-0 series lead. The Dragons in a must-win situation.
And this is our Youth and Sports Minister, Yang Berbahagia Khairi Jamaluddin, who is a big basketball fan, a former student of the United World College where he played basketball, athletics and football, and he loves playing number 4 in basketball.
We hope to get a few words with him earlier on before the game. But before that, let's send it over to Lenore Lau, who's got some insight and a pregame interview before today's tip-off. Lynn?
Thank you very much, guys. With me is General Manager of the Westports Malaysia Dragons, Jakob. And can you please tell us, I think everybody wants to know, what happened to Marcus Hubbard? Why was he away from the past two games?
Well, what happened was before we left for Jakarta, he had viral infection. I mean, some of the guys in the team, including the coach, had viral infection, so he was affected. And we know when we traveled there, it was going to be 4 days, 3 nights, so it's going to be a long time. And we had to isolate him from the team. We don't want him to infect everyone because it's a playoff. It's very important to us.
Of course. And what did you guys do to practice for this particular game at home? Because I understand that you guys did like a special training yesterday.
Well, it was a special training. The reason why it was special training because we didn't have a slot for the court, so we had to practice at 6:30 till 8. And but we're used to that because sometimes coach does tend to surprise the team by going in early, and it freshens the guys up. They get a lot of recovery period, and we're ready for tonight.
And that was in the morning, right? Can you maybe tell some of the fans out there what are they missing because they're not here at Mamba Stadium?
What you guys are missing at the moment is that excitement. The game is going to be hot. It's going to be competitive. There's a lot of action, and I'll tell you, if you are not here, you're missing everything.
Thank you very much, Jakob. This is a very heated and intense game. Stay with us. Don't go anywhere. This is the ABL on Fox.
set to battle right here in Mamba Stadium for Game 3. Ben, now we see Marcus Hubbard back in the lineup as he's recovered from his illness. What do we expect in today's game, as most definitely what's changed the most is the key matchups?
Definitely, but one thing that the Dragons will want to do for 4 quarters, Paul, for 4 consistent quarters, is defend. As we saw in Game 2, like Coach Ariel said, the real Dragons came out with intensity, but in the last 4 minutes, they made some mistakes which they'll live to regret. But never mind, this is Game 3, this is their season, there is no tomorrow for the Dragons, and they've got to be wary of Indonesia's shooters on the perimeter as well.
In a must-win situation for the Westports Malaysia Dragons, let's have a look at the starting 5 for the Indonesia Warriors. In the backcourt, Stan Pringle and Mario Wusong. They're joined by John Smith at small forward, Chris Daniels at power forward, and the man in the middle, Steve Thomas, who had his way on the inside the first 2 games. Let's have a look now at the Westports Malaysia Dragons.
Well, no surprises here, Paul, for the Westports Malaysia Dragons. As we can see, Coach Ariel in the huddle. Melton will call all the shots at 1, Armon at 2, Hubbard and John Ng will be the forwards, and Gavin Edwards will be at number 5. So John Ng, he'll probably play a rotation with Muala Tautua. Muala Tautua over the last 4 weeks has been carrying a thigh strain, so Coach Ariel Van Guardia will want to rotate these 2 big players, especially when it comes to foul trouble.
Justin Melton averaging just under 24 points in this series so far. He will not have to carry the load as much now with Hubbard back in the lineup.
No, he doesn't, but I mean, this Dragons team take nothing for granted. Like I said earlier, Paul, tomorrow could be all over. So they're just gonna go for it, but they've just got to play smart basketball for 4 quarters, 4 hard quarters, that is.
Malaysia in the red and white, Indonesia sporting their black uniforms from last year's playoffs, and the game is underway. Game 3 here at Mamba Stadium. Justin Melton with the first touch on the ball for Malaysia. Melton looks to feed Hubbard on the inside. Hubbard with his first touch against Daniels. He fades away and misses his first shot of the game. Armon is there for the rebound. Melton puts up an open 3, and that's good. His first 3 of the game.
Well, the Dragons, this is very much in their play. Look for the open man. Keep moving in, inside, outside, around the perimeter. Find the open man and hit shots. Justin Melton, he can do that.
Stan Pringle over to Daniels for the Warriors now in their first offensive sequence, and come up short. And back come the Dragons the other way. Here's a Melton over to Armon. Gavin Edwards with an open outside shot, and he misses it. Thomas gathers the rebound, and the Warriors coming back the other way. Inside is Daniels, back outside to Wusong for 3 from the top of the key, and he knocks it down. Take a moment to send it over to Lenore Lau. Lynn?
Melton is the one who sets the tempo, so their strategy is to tire him out at the backcourt. So back to you guys.
Thank you, Lynn. Tied at 3 apiece. Armon taking it to the hole, and it's good. Nice little floater there.
Very good drive to the basket by Julius Armon. One thing that the coaching staff of the Dragons have worked on him this week, take the smart shots. Don't just try to beat the man off the dribble all the time. He's got the feet to do it, but you've got to move in smart. Know when to glide, know when to shoot.
This defense by the Dragons, and Chris Daniels banks a tough shot over the arms of the defender, and it's tied again at 5. Melton to Edwards, thinks about it, kicks it outside to Ng with the shot fake. Nice ball movement by the Dragons. Pass is tipped away by Wusong. It'll still be Dragons' possession with 8 seconds left on the shot clock.
That's what I mean, Paul, making smart plays. We saw that towards the late part of Game 2. Don't want that to be repeated for the Dragons.
Dragons fell apart the final 2.5 minutes of Game 2. They were very much in it the entire way. And the shot clock will expire as the Dragons could not get a clean look, and they'll give it back to Indonesia just over 2 minutes into the game. Here's Mario Wusong and Stan Pringle, the backcourt combination for Indonesia. Pringle averaging 21 points a game in the semifinals. Here's Wusong, an open shot from the corner, and that's long, rebounded by Armon. He'll push it up the floor. Armon takes it right to the rack. A nice left-handed layup. That's 2 in a row for Armon.
He's playing with great confidence. He's not shooting as much. He's driving hard to the basket, and that's what they want. I think one thing the Dragons have worked out is where Thomas and Daniels are positioned in the paint.
Another missed shot from Daniels sends the Dragons back the other way. Melton, bounce pass is stolen by Wusong along the baseline. Wusong will take it all the way in himself. He's got no one else with them. The Dragons get back in time, and Gavin Edwards gets the block. Still Indonesia possession. The capacity crowd here tonight at Maba Stadium still filing in as Steve Thomas catches the inbound pass for the easy finish.
Good point by Steve Thomas. That's one thing that the Indonesia Warriors are very strong at. Second chance points, points in the paint. They've got the bigs to do it. So one thing the Dragons may try to do is put these guys in a bit of foul trouble, because Indonesia does not have a lot of depth ball on the bench, especially when it comes to bigs. And Mario Wusong getting a little frustrated here.
Just as you say that, John Smith picks up his first foul. And the Dragons back on the offense. Melton kicks out to John Ung. Wusong closes out on him. Hubbard takes the shot, leaves it short, and another offensive rebound for the Dragons. That's 2 so far in the first quarter. Melton, that goes off his foot. Out of bounds to the Warriors.
Marcus Hubbard was open on the wing on the opposite corner. So again, Dragons got to stick to their game plan. Look for the open man. Warriors playing hard defense at the moment, Paul.
Tied at 7 apiece. 6.5 to go. Steve Thomas now on the block. They clear it out for him. It's one-on-one against Edwards. And the shot is no good. Back comes Malaysia. Hubbard all the way to the hole. They wave it off and call a travel as he catches the pass. I think it may have taken an extra step there on the way to the basket.
Happened so quick. That call could have gone either way. Tough job the referees have.
It's been tight throughout every game here in the playoffs in either round. There's Mario Wusong, a mismatch against John Ung. Bounces it over to Thomas, has problems handling it. 8 seconds remain on the shot clock as John Smith cuts to the basket. And the Dragon defense just stifling them and unable to get a clean look. Armand now, bounce pass to Edwards, and Daniels is forced to foul him.
This is the thing about Gavin Edwards, especially. He's good at driving hard to the basket for the two-handed jam or the layup. And he knows sometimes psychologically if he can suck in Thomas and Daniels to make that foul, to knock the ball out of their hand, that's a foul ball. It's called tactics. Not the most interesting tactic, but it works sometimes.
So a great start so far for the Dragons as Edwards with a second free throw attempt coming up.
Gavin Edwards, 65% from the line during the season. He usually connects 1 of 2, and he does.
So right from the opening tip, it's already a tight game, and that's what we expected, especially with these two teams on the court. John Smith now. Steve Thomas in the corner. Smith takes the shot and leaves it short. Ung and Daniels gets tangled up. They'll call that against John Ung. It'll be inbounds along the baseline for the Warriors.
Indonesia will look to shoot here. They've got a few good shooters in the starting 5. John Smith, Pringle, crossover, spin, gets blocked, but it's Indonesia's ball.
Tried to do a little too much with it there on the inside, but got bailed out. It'll still be Indonesia possession. And we can already tell from the beginning of the game, both teams setting the tone defensively. It's going to be a low-scoring game if it continues this way. Chris Daniels off the glass, and that time he gets it to go, and he's on the scoreboard.
Good move by Chris Daniels there. He just saw the mismatch and drove in hard.
Gavin Edwards pops up. It's a screen for Armand. The Dragons moving well without the ball. Melton, an in and out dribble, gets to the hole, too strong off the glass. Pringle Gets a step on Melton, and that'll be Justin Melton's first foul.
Very interesting, Paul, now that we have the first timeout, and how both teams are really putting their elbow into the players. And like you said, they've made their intentions very, very clear. They want to play a defensive game.
It's a 9-8 lead, very slim lead right now for the Dragons. Just 5.5 gone in the first quarter. We'll be right back with more of the first quarter on AirAsia 2013 ABL Playoffs on Fox Sports. A slim 1-point lead for the Westports Malaysia Dragons here at home at Game 3. Our live coverage of the AirAsia 2013 ABL Playoffs continue as the Warriors miss the shot back after the timeout. Here comes Melton. Armand, open three. It's off the mark. Steve Thomas with the rebound. Steve Thomas having to work hard for every defensive rebound so far. Jared Cañada checking into the game for the Warriors.
Well, Steve Thomas, that's why he was Defensive Player of the Year last season. That honor goes to Chris Charles. Rejection! Wow. Marcus Hubbard says, I'm in the house.
There you go, making his presence felt right away. I'm back here in Game 3, and back in a big way with a huge block. It'll be out of bounds to the Warriors with 5 seconds on the shot clock.
Well, as we saw in that replay there, Paul, that's what they were missing in Game 1 and 2.
Daniels. 2 seconds on the shot clock. Thomas will have to put it up. And that's good. He just barely beats the buzzer and pulls them back within one possession, 11-8 Dragons.
Well, the Dragons have brought on Moala Tautua and Guga. So Mo Tautua, he's going to try to help them out in the rebound department. Guga, it's a good shooter of the ball. Moving around the perimeter. Melton connects.
Nice three-point shot from Justin Melton. And the Dragons are off to a hot start here in the first.
Hot start. Indonesia. Cañada, can he use his speed?
A tough shot, trying to get one over Mo Tautua. And here come the Dragons again. They foul at center court against Jared Cañada.
It's tight, isn't it, Paul? 11-11. Both these two teams playing relentless basketball like the finals is tomorrow.
It's what we expected when we saw these two teams destined to meet in the semifinal round. Here's Justin Melton now. Tautua posting up Smith. He's got the size advantage. Spins along the baseline and gets it to Gavin Edwards for a nice reverse.
Great teamwork by the Dragons there. They knew where each other were, and that's something they worked on in training all season, sealing it in the paint.
Jared Cañada, now he's got the speed advantage on Tautua, gets it out to Daniels along the baseline. Another missed shot for the Warriors. The Dragons have a chance to build their lead further. Edwards tries to dribble it against Thomas, gets it stripped away, and Indonesia will have the ball back.
Coach Ariel screaming to Moala Tautua. One thing that the referees are going to do, Paul, is the technicals. During the end of the season and during the season, they've been very, very firm about, they're not going to back down. Cañada.
Oh, he hits a shot over Mo Tautua. And Jared Cañada has been shooting a lot better in the second half of the season for the Warriors. Here comes Justin Melton. Out to Tautua. Guga. Inside. Gets it to Marcus Hubbard for the two-handed flush. Wow. Open man. That extra pass by the Dragons getting the open shots that they need right now. Giving them that 1-point edge late in the first. Thomas. Outside to Pringle. 3 on its way, and it's off the mark. Hubbard gets the rebound. Here comes Guga, gets a screen on Edwards. Edwards misses the pass, though. And here come the Warriors. Bounce pass to Pringle. Bounces his way inside. Gets a second attempt. And the Warriors take the 1-point lead back.
Good hustle by the Indonesia Warriors. Dragons will be disappointed with that. Thought they could get the rebound, but Melton comes. He's got 2.
Inside feed to Edwards, and John Smith is there to greet him, and he will be called for foul.
Justin Melton coming out of the game, Paul. That's a very interesting tactic by Coach Ariel Vanguardia. And Guga will call all the shots at 1. Julius at 2 probably.
Well, Coach Vanguardia now having a little more room to play with his rotations with Marcus Hubbard back. And turnover right off the inbounds pass. And that sends Daniels the other way. Satepu into the game, and he gets blocked by Hubbard. But Pringle is there to clean it up.
Well, like I said, Paul, it's all well and good to block, but you've got to box out. That's what you've got to do.
There's Edwards up top. Back to Armand. Armand misses it left. Under a minute to go here in the first. 18-15 for Indonesia. Cañada into the corner. Satepu. It rattles out, but Daniels is there, and a couple of tip-ins. Nobody for the Dragons there to stop him.
Where were the bigs? Daniels was open and had so much time, Paul.
A 5-point lead now for the Warriors. Guga takes the handoff from Edwards. Double teamed up high. Here's Edwards, puts it on the floor, takes it hard to the rack. Warriors with a block, 10 seconds left. And Pringle will pull it back for one final play in the first. 5 seconds remaining. And here comes Pringle. Gets the step and beats the buzzer. And the Indonesian Warriors have stretched it to a 7-point lead at the end of the first. A tight quarter the entire way, though. We'll pause momentarily, but when we come back, hot action from the second quarter right here on the AirAsia 2013 ABL playoffs on Fox Sports. Don't go anywhere. After 1 quarter of play here at Game 3, the Westports Malaysia Dragons find themselves down by 7. It's 22-15 for the Indonesia Warriors, but it was close the entire way through the first. In that final half a minute or so, the Dragons missed a couple of fundamental things.
They did miss a couple of fundamental things, Paul, and the first fundamental thing, if in doubt when defending, just put your hands out. That's something that Coach Ariel Vanguardia and the coaching staff of the Westports Malaysia Dragons have worked on, especially this week, working on a lot of exercises, blow by and back up, pressing, you know, really bodying up on your man. So put your hands out. If in doubt, Pringle, you know, could have gone either way.
Let's send it over courtside to Lenora Lowlin. Thank you, Lynn. A 6-point first quarter for Justin Melton. Right now, it's Monsoon Wee, Armand, Edwards, Hubbard, and Taltua to start the second for the Dragons as they get the offensive rebound for a second effort.
Taltua trying to cut in. Julius Armand to Hubbard. Look at the two open men for the Dragons. Turnover.
A steal by the Warriors, and here comes Daniels quickly the other way, flying in for the one-handed slam.
Gotta protect the ball. Dragons just gotta protect the ball. Too many turnovers, especially in game one.
Monsoon Wee, unable to finish game two. A lot of fouls being called there in that second game. There he hits the deck.
Justin Melton coming back in, Paul. So I think Coach Ariel has seen enough. He needs his playmaker on the court.
For the Warriors, it's Chris Daniels, Steve Thomas, Jerry Cañada, Ronaldo Sutepu, and Mario Wusong. We see Amin Priantono get set to check in on the sideline. Here comes Cañada. It's the screen from Daniels and weaves his way through traffic. Layup's no good, but Steve Thomas is there once again. Ball tipped out of bounds off of Thomas, so it'll be back to Malaysia.
Interesting tactic here to bring in Amin Priantono very early into this game. He usually comes on in the third quarter. Mr. Lights Out shooter Melton tries to float it or glide it in.
Melton thought he should have got fouled there. No whistle was blown. It's a 9-point lead. The Dragons will have to try to contain this Warrior squad and not let this lead get too far out of hand. Jared Cañada over to Sutepu. Sutepu did not shoot the ball well in the second game. Passes it inside to Thomas, and it will go back to Malaysia off the turnover by Indonesia.
7 points for Chris Daniels in the first quarter, 9 points for Julius Armand. And they're working the perimeter inside.
Edwards around the baseline, gets wrapped up by Thomas. No call is made. Here's Cañada to Wusong. Puts it on the floor and shoots it over Hubbard. Not getting much daylight there. And as Thomas hits the deck, Hubbard trips over him and is clutching his right leg. Let's hope he's all right.
You know, Paul, I remember when we saw Justin Williams roll his ankle, but oh, look at that. He's okay, he's walking a bit gingerly.
It was an accidental trip over the befallen Thomas. But Hubbard looks to be all right and staying in the game. Good sign for Malaysia.
One thing about Marcus Hubbard, he'll play hurt. He's that type of guy. He literally used to be a boxer. So he'll go in punching. No pun intended. Julius Armand drives. Back to Edwards.
Edwards with another long jumper. Hasn't gotten his inside game going just yet. Here come the Warriors. Breaking out, Amin Priantono from the left corner and stretches it to a double-digit lead. That leads to a Malaysia timeout, 27-15 for the defending champions here in the second with 3 minutes gone. We're going to take another short break. Don't go anywhere. More second quarter action when we return on ABL 2013 playoffs on Fox Sports. Pick up action here in the second quarter. A 12-point lead for Indonesia as the Warriors find themselves down early in the game. Bonsun Wee taking on Mario Wusong. Warriors tightening up the defense. Wee loses it, and Thomas will get it back for the Warriors. Not a good offensive sequence for the Dragons there.
Got a bit cold here for the Dragons, Paul. They just really need to hit a shot that'll sort of lift the confidence at the moment. But one thing they've got to be wary of is Indonesia when they shoot, so probably lock it down on the perimeter.
We're going to check it with Laura Lau, who's got another update from the sidelines. Liv?
Okay, Hubbard is really in pain and is really intense here because he wanted so badly to play. What I can see is that the physio is right now taking a look at his right ankle, the top part of the ankle. We'll be right back. I'll tell you more what's going on. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Lynn. We hope he's all right. What we don't want to see is Hubbard unable to play for the remainder of this game. We saw how that turned out for the Dragons in the first two games. As we see another turnover by the Dragons. They had 6 of them in the first quarter alone, and the Warriors really capitalized off of those.
Well, that's something they've worked on, just protecting the ball. They can do that. And now, Paul, they just need to get a shot. That's all they need.
Trying to get a defensive stop against the Warriors. Daniels gets free inside, and Edwards throws him to the ground as the players got tangled up off that entry pass. We'll see if we get another look at it right here.
Yep.
Looks like he got a handful of jersey there for Gavin Edwards, and rather than allowing him the easy 2, he's going to have Chris Daniels earn it the hard way from the charity stripe.
Surprising, the referee did not call a technical. Usually in a situation like that during the season, they would call a technical. So, interesting call.
Great to see the officials letting the players play it out. There was both players didn't get emotional about it. It was just one of those things where they got tangled up. So, the officials staying on top of this one. Chris Daniels makes good from the free throw line, and it's now a 14-point lead. Altua in the backcourt. He's bringing the ball up. Gets it to Wee. Smith out on him. Gets it to Tautua. Tries to get it inside to Edwards, and does. Daniels bangs with him. And Edwards gets a nice look, and that's what we like to see from Gavin Edwards, making a move inside the paint.
That's what they need. He was very courageous to take on 2 picks there in the paint. But you got to give it to him.
Daniels coming back the other way, right at Edwards, and gets the basket and the foul. Chris Daniels answering back on the other end in a big way as he heads back to the charity stripe for another.
Marcus Hubbard just practicing some walking exercises on the side there.
It looked like he was clutching at his knee, so it might have been one of those situations where he got hit on the side of the leg. That's what it looked like when he went down. Again, looks like he's going to check into the game, so we hope he's okay. Melton now taking on 3 Warrior defenders. Outside to Ung. Ung has not taken an outside shot yet. Gets it to Edwards instead. Edwards misses it, and Satepu gathers the rebound. Here's Pringle. He gets out on the open. Wusong open 3, and a very dangerous player to be leaving open from the outside, and this lead has now ballooned to 17. Another timeout called on the floor by Malaysia. No surprise there.
No surprise there, but must credit Indonesia the way they moved the ball, capitalizing off Malaysia's mistakes. The Dragons started this game very, very well, very, very intense. Paul, those energy levels have just dropped up a little bit.
Let's have a listen at the Warrior timeout with Coach Todd Purdy. Listen in on Coach Mangardi and the Dragons. Coach Vanguardia emphasizing the defensive assignments right now for the Dragons, as they've got to get a stop for these Warriors right now.
Over 4.5 minutes left in this quarter, Paul. They just need to go on a bit of a run. Not just to get points, but just to lift their confidence. As we saw there, Gavin Edwards giving away a foul. He just got a little bit frustrated there that things are not going according to the game plan.
Back after the timeout, and Melton quickly gets up the floor. And the Dragons will set it back up. Inside to Hubbard. Hubbard faces up on Thomas, takes the jumper. Hey, and that's a good-looking shot, but that is not a good-looking jog on the way back. Really, really gingerly. You can see the weight he's taken off his right knee there as John Smith takes a shot, misses, and Melton gets the rebound. Edwards, nobody on him, as Daniels and Thomas both looking at each other, trying to figure out who's got Gavin Edwards, and Edwards just takes it right to the rack, and Thomas forced to give up a foul.
Dragons still driving hard. Still sticking to their tactics, Paul.
Once again, let's send it over to Laura Lau, who's got an update on Marcus Hubbard. Lynn?
Physio has mentioned that it's nothing too bad. It's just a very minor sprain. Although he is limping a bit, he has already taken a painkiller to ease the pain. So hopefully he doesn't injure himself with the rest of the game. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Lynn.
So a 3-0 run here. Got a lockdown on the shooters. Cross-court pass.
Warriors up 14 now. Thomas, no-look pass, almost throws it away. Pringle saves it at half court. Under 10 seconds on the shot clock. Pringle spins around Melton, outside to Smith. It rattles out for Smith. Melton with another defensive rebound. And first one up the floor again for the Dragons. It'll still be Malaysia possession off of the Warriors on the baseline. And of course, with a lead like this, there's still plenty of time to go. The Dragons have just got to get settled in here.
Just got to get into that rhythm. Marcus Hubbard for the three. Knocks it down.
And you know he can hit that shot. We saw him taking a lot of those during warm-up, a lot of those going down that I saw. And right there, a big man drains it from beyond the arc. Steve Thomas sends it over inside to Chris Daniels. Back outside to Smith, a dangerous pass, but Melton gets caught in the air, unable to avoid Smith, and that will be his second foul.
Nothing intentional about that, Paul. He was just going for the ball, so all good.
Pringle on the inbound. Smith inside to Thomas. Ball tipped away by Melton, but Smith is there to get it back. So almost a breakout run there for the Dragons. Unfortunately, that's what happens when you have a broken play, and it goes back to this team that had it to begin with. It leaves the open inside. They're forced to foul.
One thing that we might see here, Paul, is that Marcus limping at the moment might just use him to more of a defensive role. Don't go in too hard for those jams and those baskets and those dunks, and just stay in the paint on defense. And then also maybe Marcus to shoot it, because I don't think the Warriors are expecting him to shoot it that much.
And with a guy like Steve Thomas on him, those shots aren't going to be contested much. He's going to get a lot of open looks from outside.
Definitely.
John Smith, a 64% free throw shooter, hits 1 of 2. It's still a 12-point lead for Indonesia. But Malaysia has broken out of their drought. Let's see if they can pick it up again here on the offensive end. Justin Melton shakes off his defender, gets it to Hubbard for another outside shot. That one's off the mark. Wusong. Over to Thomas. Here's Daniels to Pringle.
Look at how much space Indonesia have. They've got it locked down.
Smith misses the baseline layup, but Thomas is there, and he gets fouled over the back. I believe it's on Tautua.
Interesting call by the referees. First glance, it didn't quite look like a foul. Legal guarding position set by Malaysia. Let's look at this again. Oh, close. Looked like a bit of contact there, but at first glance it didn't.
It takes a lot to knock down a big man like Steve Thomas.
Exactly.
Thomas been shooting the ball well on the line as of late.
Game 2 though, Paul, he was 2 for 7 from the line. So that's something that he's not known for during the season, shooting ability. He's very much a defensive dunk guy.
Always an adventure when Steve Thomas gets to the free throw line. Here's Jared Kanyada checking back into the game for John Smith, and this is where we see the Indonesia Warriors 3-guard rotation, where they have basically 4 starting guards that they can rotate in 3 positions. And that's what they plan to do to tire out Armand and Melton. Here comes Melton. Hubbard inside to Tautua. Tautua posting up on the much smaller Pringle, but Thomas comes over with a weak side help. Warriors back on the fast break, but Gavin Edwards gets back in time to tip the pass away. So already we're seeing the Dragon defense quicker to get back than we've seen the past 2 games of this series so far.
Well, Dragons are a more athletic team, so they can get back better in transition. Wusong open.
Melton saves it. A nice save on his own end, and here he comes. Nobody to pass to as he gets tangled up in traffic, and still Malaysia ball. Lead is still at 14, under 2 minutes to play here in the first half. Crowd now getting into it, trying to spark their home side to a victory. Here's Gavin Edwards with a nice outside shot. So each of the big men for the Dragons now knocking down a 3 here in the second.
If the Dragons can get it down to single digits, that will lift them at the moment. As you can tell on their faces, they're a little bit frustrated.
That was a long 2 from Edwards. The pass outside to Pringle's almost stolen by Melton. Pringle misses the outside shot. Daniels gathers another offensive rebound and a putback, plus the foul. We've seen that too many times in the first half so far by the Warriors. Dragons giving up those offensive rebounds.
Well, if you look at game 2, Paul, as an indication, second chance points by the Indonesia Warriors, 19 to the Dragons 4. This is a bit of a pattern at the moment. Even Thomas gets the rebound there. Edwards for the rebound. Here come the Dragons.
Justin Melton trying to make something happen for Malaysia. Edwards fires it onto the baseline for Hubbard. Back outside, over to the corner. Guga for 3. That's off the mark. Dragons get it back. A heads-up play, but they lose it. And Wusong gets an easy layup the other way. Unfortunate for Malaysia. 41-25. The lead is up to 16. Their biggest of the game so far. 41 seconds left in the first half. Guga over to Hubbard. Hubbard playing outside. Here he puts it on the floor in the paint. Bit too strong. And Pringle, watch out, Pringle switches gears. And it's an 18-point lead with less than half a minute to play in the second. The Dragons have got to get a score here before they head into the halftime break. Guga looks up at the clock. You're going to hold it for one last possession. Tautua comes out, sets a screen on him. Tautua now against Pringle, outside to Edwards. Time running out. Edwards puts it up and draws the foul on Thomas. So a nice heads-up play by Gavin Edwards with the shot fake. Draws Steve Thomas for the foul. That will send him for 2 free throws as the first half comes to an end. 43-25, an 18-point lead for the defending champions, as Gavin Edwards will shoot 2.
Gavin Edwards tonight, he has not hit 2 consistent free throws. Now is the time to do it, Paul. Every point counts.
And it's come down to this. Gavin Edwards 1 for 2 from the line, so that will make it a 43-26 lead for the visiting Indonesia Warriors. We will break momentarily, but don't go anywhere. When we come back, halftime interviews, statistics, and highlights, plus the second half for you. Don't go anywhere. This is AirAsia's coverage of the 2013 ABL playoffs on Fox Sports. We'll be right back. You're watching our live telecast of the AirAsia 2013 ABL playoffs. At the half, it is a 43-26 lead for the defending champion Indonesia Warriors. What have the Dragons not been doing right so far, Ben?
Well, in my opinion, Paul, I think they got a little bit spooked when Marcus Hubbard came off, because in the first quarter they were very intense, very good, playing hard, but all of a sudden Marcus Hubbard got that ankle injury, and then they turned the ball over 10 times to give Indonesia some baskets. And one thing, full credit to Indonesia, that they are doing well, those second chance points, those putbacks, those rebounds. They've been very aggressive with that, and that's where they're beating the Dragons at the moment. Turnovers and rebounds.
Let's now go courtside to Lenora Lau, who is with former NBA star Randy Livingston. Lynn?
Thanks, guys. With me is Randy Livingston. He was once the point guard for Idaho Stampede. Is that right?
Yes. Former point guard. Played there for a few years, and then I coached there for 3 seasons in the NBA Development League.
You even played in the Chicago Bulls for a while, right?
Yes, played for the Chicago Bulls. Got drafted by the Houston Rockets. Played with Charles Barkley, Akeem Olajuwon, Clyde Drexler, to name a few. But I played 12 years professionally, 10 of them in the NBA.
Very nice. Can you tell us, what are you doing in Malaysia?
Well, to be honest with you, KL has become one of my favorite cities to visit. But my partner comes here and she does some business with Astro, and so when she comes, I usually travel with her, and now I'm running a coaching consultancy business, and I'm just trying to meet people in the Asian Pacific region and trying to just develop relationships.
Very nice. So like, this is your first ABL game, is that right?
Yes, this is my first game.
Okay, and what do you think of the game so far for the halftime?
So far, the home team needs to, get the plan a little bit better. I know one of the players, Mr. Hubbard on the team, he played in the NBA Development League, but the Indonesia team's playing very well. They're making their shots and hitting the offensive glass. So, the home team has a lot of work to do.
A lot of homework to do. Well, okay, if you could tell any of the fans in Malaysia, would you like to say anything to our Malaysian fans here for basketball?
Yes, hopefully basketball continues to grow in the region. I'm happy to be here to watch this performance tonight, and KL is one of my favorite cities right now in the world. Had a lot of time, I've traveled through KL, and I just hope basketball continues to grow.
Thank you very much, Randy. Thank you so much, guys. Back to you.
Thank you, Lynn. So Ben, you mentioned points off turnovers, second chance points. They were, you saw Steve Thomas with 9 rebounds already in the first half. What do they have to do to turn things around here?
Well, look at it at the moment, 23 rebounds. That's very interesting. The Dragons 20, but what they've got to do at the moment going into the second half is just protect the ball. Look at those turnovers, 10-3, and look at the blocks. They've got to make smart shots as well. If they see 2 bigs, in front of them, don't try to take them on, because these are the 2 best defensive players in the league, Thomas and Daniels. Maybe work to what they've done earlier in the season, which is look for the open man and get the simple, easy shot. If they can get points and they can reduce the lead, then that's good. So as we can see here, Justin Melton, he came out earlier in the game, which was a big surprise to us all. And Tautua bounce pass, Edwards. See, baskets like that, Paul. Nobody there, open space, open man, put the ball in the hoop, get points.
And a lot of the movement, player movement without the ball, they were moving very well and getting a little stagnant in the second quarter. And there you see the Warriors taking advantage of the turnover. Pringle getting a point on the other end. And these were the offensive rebounds we're talking about. Second attempts, third attempts for Chris Daniels.
And look at Chris Daniels. I mean, he was aggressive for the rebound there. And another turnover here. Kenyatta bounce pass to Daniels. Easy one-handed flush.
And we saw the Warriors break out. A lot of these highlights coming off, fast break points, transition threes from the Warriors. They were clicking on all cylinders in the first half.
You've got to give credit to Indonesia. Malaysia was a bit rattled at this stage. Gavin Edwards, he got a bit frustrated there. He spins, he gets a good athletic movement by Gavin Edwards to beat Chris Daniels. Chris Daniels is one of the best defensive players in the league. And then Pringle, who has not had an hat-trick, look at Wusong. Nobody guarding him, nobody locking him down on the perimeter. And Indonesia, that's part of their game plan. Todd Purvis, he's mentioned time and time again, and he mentioned to me before the game, that's part of our tactic. We'll go to the perimeter and get the shots.
No secret that the Indonesia Warriors love to shoot threes. And there you see Hubbard loves that outside shot as well as he knocks it down.
Well, that's one thing they'll look for Marcus Hubbard, because he won't be moving too fast in the second half. Gavin Edwards, he's trying to keep them in this game, but he looks extremely frustrated. Certain amount of leadership will be needed now here, Paul, just to calm everything down. If they can get the lead down to single digits, then there's a game on the line.
Well, we're looking forward to a very exciting second half. Don't go anywhere after this break. We'll be right back with the second half. This is AirAsia ABL Playoffs 2013 on Fox Sports. At the halftime break, it's a 43-26 lead for the Indonesia Warriors here in Game 3 of the semifinal rounds. 20 minutes away, the defending champions are from returning to the final. Standing in their way are the home team. The Westports Malaysia Dragons have got to stand their ground here, as they've got to leave it all on the floor. This could be their final game.
This could be their final game, but they are going to go at it very, very hard. One thing that was missing in Game 1 and 2, Paul, was the leadership of Marcus Hubbard, because you got to notice in Game 1 the Dragons didn't talk much, but now they're talking a lot more. Their confidence is higher, but they've got to whittle down this lead, and then anything can happen.
You're right. I noticed a lot of more communication in Game 2, and that was the game they were a lot more competitive, as the second half is now underway. Dragons with the first possession. It's going to be Bonsun Wee, Justin Melton, Armand, Tautua, and Edwards to start the half for Malaysia. Fouls called on the floor, as Indonesia sports their original starting five of Smith, Wusong, Pringle, Daniels, and Thomas. Season on the line for Malaysia, as they're going to try to put a stop to the Warriors' run here and send it to a Game 4 that will take place on Friday if they do happen to win Game 3 here tonight. Here's Chris Daniels. He gets double teamed along the baseline. Great defense by Malaysia. And
well, that's what you call a trap zone. Here, Indonesia will inbound the ball.
So they'll call that against Armand. That's just his first. Very active are the Dragons. They tip the ball away again. 6 seconds remain on the shot clock for the Warriors. Daniels, he's got to get it off. And Mo Tautua is all over him and forces him to turn it over on the baseline. So far, that intensity that we saw from the Dragons at the beginning of the game seems to be back here at the start of the second half.
Intensity is there, but they need points, Paul. They need points quick. If they can get this down to a single-digit lead, the Indonesia Warriors then.
A quick substitution for the Dragons. Hubbard comes into the game. Edwards, the Tautua. Here's Hubbard as he tests his knee against Daniels. Gets a clean look and loses the handle. And Melton with a second opportunity for the Dragons and pulls them back within 15. Here's Daniels. At the elbow, gives it up to Pringle. There's a speed mismatch there on the baseline. And another turnover by Indonesia. And Malaysia has a chance to close the gap even further.
Remember last time we called the game here, Paul, Indonesia-Malaysia, between these two teams, it was a 1-point game. And the first half belonged to Indonesia, but the third quarter was all Malaysia. So we might see that, we may not see that. Like you said, strange things do happen in this game.
Here's John Smith off the missed shot by Wee. Gets it to Wusong, who puts up a tough shot. Smith fighting for the rebound. And that will be a foul against either Melton or Wee. Oh, it's not a foul.
It's not a foul.
So a good non-call by the refs. As Smith gets the inbound to Pringle. Daniels sets a strong screen on Melton. Pringle on the left side gets the isolation. In the paint, bounces it to Daniels, and he kisses it off the glass. Tautua screaming for the traveling violation. But Daniels gets another deuce. Melton drives and kicks it to Hubbard. Outside to Wee with an open three. Misses it. There's going to be a foul off the ball, and that will be against Gavin Edwards. We'll see if we can have another look at it.
You said it was a pushing foul.
We won't have another chance, but that was a loose ball foul. So unfortunate for Edwards. He's going to have to come out of the game as Julius Armand checks back in.
Well, one thing Julius Armand can give the Dragons is penetration. Penetration. He tries to steal the ball here. And the referees say it is Indonesia's ball. Wusong and Armand jostling.
So the Warriors will have it back on the sidelines at center court. Smith. Inbounds to Thomas, gets it back. Inside to Thomas, back and forth between the two, and Bonson Wee had no choice and did a good job there to stop Thomas from getting a clean look, but will send him back to the line.
Well, the Dragons, a little bit of foul trouble at the moment. Asking Julius Armand to come in.
Steve Thomas calmly knocks down his first free throw.
What a time for Thomas to knock down points.
And the Warriors, they're opting to not take the rebounding positions. And getting back and not allowing the transition game of the Dragons to develop. Here's Melton outside to Wee, over to Armand from the corner, misses the three. The Dragons cannot fall in love with the three-point shot if it's not going down for them, as they did in game 2. Here's Pringle, dances his way inside the paint. Daniels mishandles the pass, and Melton pushes it up the floor against Wusong, and a foul is called on Wusong as Melton gets the hoop in the horn.
Three-point play, chance for a three-point play. Look at this great move by Justin Melton. Scott just drives to the basket. 3 guys almost looking at him and on him, 2 on him, especially Chris Daniels. Man who's 6'6" versus a man who's 5'11". Talk about mismatch. But that's courage by Melton.
Yeah, you know, there's so much power from somebody that size. You know, he took a couple of tough layups in game 2 as well. I recall over some defenders, and he did it again right there. Thomas with Tautua on him.
That's why they call him Mighty Mouse. And strips of the ball. Hubbard to Melton. Can he get another one? Marcus Hubbard.
Beautiful pass to the flying Marcus Hubbard. Normally that would be a two-handed slam here, but he's going to make the safe play, especially for his own knee, for his own benefit. Here's Lenora Lau with another update. Lynn?
You don't see on the bench, Coach Ariel is concerned for Hubbard's condition. They say that he can play, but take note, Hubbard is playing in pain, guys, because he and the Dragons really want this win bad. Back to you.
Thank you, Lynn. A missed 3 by Stan Pringle. And now Melton has a chance to cut the lead, and does. And now they have erased the deficit and cut it down to 11. Warriors call timeout. They've seen enough with just under 4 minutes gone here in the third. We're going to break away for a moment. When we return to more of the third quarter here on the AirAsia ABL Playoffs 2013 on Fox Sports. Minutes into the second half, and the home side Westports Malaysia Dragons have clawed their way back into this and cut the Indonesia Warrior lead down to 11, leading to a timeout by the Warriors as we get back to action on the court. Pringle brings it up for Indonesia. Smith to Wusong. 3 guards on the outside for Indonesia as Wusong gets open for 3, and a dangerous shooter as always from that spot.
Mario Wusong silences the crowd.
Here's Melton. To two-man game with Hubbard. Hubbard playing more of an outside game to protect his injury as he takes an open three and just misses it short. Hubbard looking a little better though. He was hobbling a lot more there before the halftime break. And here's Stan Pringle. Smith feeds inside to Daniels. Daniels gets around Tautua. The layup is short. And back comes Armand. Drives the lane. And we're seeing a lot more of the Dragons taking it to the basket and drawing the foul here in the second half.
Well, one thing about the Dragons' game plan, here's a bit of a fight, argy-bargy as they say.
Well, that's going to happen if you get, and as the ref you see teeing up, let's see who they call the technical on. And Hubbard heading back to the bench to talk it over with Coach Van Guardia. As they clear things up here on the court, let's make note that both coaches are actually staying kind of silent. They don't want to pick up the technical. We know Coach Todd Purvis cannot afford to pick up another technical for the remainder of the season. And there's have a look at Marcus Hubbard's right knee. Note that right leg that he was favoring after he fell early in the first.
Well, usually in situations like this, Coach Ariel will rotate him with Gavin Edwards or Mwala Tautua, but Gavin Edwards in foul trouble. So really, really tough situation for the home team here, Paul.
Well, the odds are against them, but they're not going to go down without a fight as they're still in this one with plenty of time to go. 1.5 quarters remaining here in Game 3. The refs clearing things up. That technical is called against Indonesia. As you see Armand getting set to take 2 technical free throws.
Julius Armand, his average free throw percentage is 76% during the season. Very confident shooter. That's what you want in a swingman. Needs to hit some shots. And it all starts here.
Julius Armand shooting the free throw on the end, the opposite end of where we're sitting, where you see a sea, momentarily you might see a sea of white t-shirts. There you see a lot of Malaysia Dragons supporters coming out for today's game. Most of them coming from the 15 and under National Youth Basketball Championship that was taking place today. All coming out here to support their home side, trying to push this and extend it to a Game 4. So it was double technicals called. Armand shooting 2, and now Mario Wusong misses his first end of the technical.
It's funny that Mario Wusong taking it because his average free throw percentage is also 76%, and he hits 1 of 2 exactly like Julius Armand.
So neither side benefiting from that little altercation, but that's got to be expected when it comes down to a line, a must-win situation from one of the teams. Things are going to get a bit heated, but both sides settling down now. You see Armand and Wusong still jostling for position, but both these guys are better than that. They know the business that they've got to take care of that at hand right now. Here's Pringle, fires it over with a touch pass from Kanyada to Wusong. Inside to Thomas, a no-look pass to Pringle. And it bounces right into the hands of Steve Thomas. John Ung is there to rip it out of his hands, but he lets it roll out of bounds. But, great job by John Ung to stay active and stay with that ball.
Very much playing with intensity because they just need the ball. They just need to get it down court. So not time running out here in the third quarter. Pringle off the bank, off the glass. Does he get the foul as well?
Saw him do that and draw the foul in Game 2 as well. Did the exact same thing right there. Quite a ways away from the basket. If he just puts it softly off the glass, then he has a chance to stretch the lead now back to 17. And he does. 54-36. It's now... Sorry, 53-36. A 17-point lead for the Warriors. Only halfway through the third quarter, Guga hands off to Armand. Hubbard on the outside. He's got some room. Kicks it over to Armand for three. And he gets it to go in front of a frenzied home crowd.
Needed that shot, good movement. Julius Armand spotting up very nicely there. And that's, maybe they might see similar plays between now and the end of the game. Pringle at 8 points after 2 quarters. He's got the ball on the perimeter. He's being heavily guarded. He drives hard to the basket. Pringle, but he loses the ball. And that is the end of the shot clock. And as we see, we can't see on camera, but off camera, Coach Todd Purvis disputing a call.
He's probably thinking should have been a foul, but there we saw right in front of us, nobody touched him. It was just a nice, hard defensive play against Pringle, so it'll give the ball back to Malaysia as Melton takes it right to the hole. Beautiful layup with the left hand by Justin Melton.
Good run here by the Dragons. They need more of this. Gotta stop Indonesia from getting potential. Dodo Satepu.
Satepu has not knocked down a three since the first game of the series, but he gets free for the layup, and those are those second chance attempts that the Dragons cannot afford to give up. Some messy passing, but the Dragons managed to get it to Guga, drives along the baseline, outside to Hubbard, swings it over to Melton. Melton's shot is just left, but it's off the Warriors.
Warriors will try to get this down to at least 10 points. If it's 10 points, then there's a psychology there. Guga drives, kicks out. Melton fake. Hubbard for the three. No.
Oh, just it's a shame. It would have been a nice pass. A miscommunication. Ung thought that Hubbard was going to let that one fly. As Hubbard tried to feed him, he would have been open for the easy basket underneath. But instead, they turn it over and hand it back to Malaysia. Another timeout is called on the floor here in the third with under 3 minutes to go. 55-41 is the lead right now for Indonesia. And with Gavin Edwards in foul trouble and with Hubbard, favoring his one leg, the Dragons are going to look for answers somewhere else.
They've got to look for answers somewhere else. Well, they've got Justin Melton and Julius Armand and Guga at times who can shoot the ball, but one thing about ABL players, sometimes they're not consistent with a three-point shot, so go for simple deuce. Go for simple two-point shot. One thing you'll notice about the Dragons, their build-up play generally over the series has been quite effective. It's just the finishing. Whereas the Warriors, one thing they're going to use to that strength to counter that build-up play is their defense. So two different brands of basketball here, Paul. Which one will win out? But at the moment, Indonesia has the upper hand.
There you have a look at the huddle. The defending champions just under 13 minutes away from returning to the finals. Most of the Indonesia Warriors squad from last year's championship team returning this year, coached by Todd Purvis, who won Coach of the Year honors from the ABL after bringing his team the title.
Well, missing the very effective Evan Brock, who had a stellar series last year. An amazing player and finals MVP.
Action back underway here in the third. Jarek Cañada almost loses it. Guga all over him. Gets free for the shot. Hubbard is there to gobble up the rebound. Melton goes behind the back. Quick ball movement by the Dragons. Great passing. Gets it to an open Ung. Cannot get the shot to go down. And Steve Thomas is first to the ball.
Look at that build-up play by the Dragons. Quite good, Paul. Just need the shot. Warriors sticking to their defensive principles.
Here's Daniels on the post. Outside to Pringle. Tries to get the repost, but very messily done. And it's turned over into the hands of Armand, who takes it all the way to the other end with a left-handed layup. We got another update from Lenora Lau.
Inside the huddle was to move the ball around to avoid the Warriors getting the rebound. Back to you guys.
Thank you. We saw exactly that. They passed the ball, made the extra pass, and those were what produced the baskets earlier on. We've got some kind of disagreement on the floor about the call being made here.
Now even Coach Cesar, the assistant coach for the Dragons, is up. He's usually quite a quiet character, but he's going to have a chat to Guga about play. Steve Thomas here. The man.
But this quarter still, no matter what, belongs to the Dragons, that they've managed to, inch their way closer to move within striking distance. Still another whole quarter to play here to fight their way back into this.
Very much so. This game is not over by a long stretch. We still got about 1 minute and 45 seconds left in this quarter. Anything can happen. I remember the 1-point ball game that Indonesia won in Indonesia, when Malaysia won by 1 point. Indonesia were leading by a relatively similar margin.
These Dragons can make up a deficit really quick when they want to. So the Warriors cannot afford to get complacent, even with a 14-point lead. 57-43 with just over 1.5 remaining in the third. Here's Guga, gets double teamed up high. Hubbard, another three on its way, and it's good. He knocks down the triple.
Marcus Hubbard, he saw there was nobody really guarding him because he's such a big man. Nobody will go there. Pringle and Melton jostles for it. Daniels.
Oh, a tough shot by Stan Pringle over Marcus Hubbard. But with the Dragons in foul trouble, they cannot afford to get one there. And Guga draws the foul on the other end on Ronaldo Satepu.
Well, if there's one man that can beat guys who are bigger than him, it's Stan Pringle. I mean, this guy's played basketball in the Ukraine, in Belgium, grew up playing basketball in Korea and Japan, so he's got a very, very good international mixture in his recipe to make him a good basketball player. Sometimes I forget he's 6'1".
And even with the Warriors taking a 2-0 series lead, what's been most exciting for me is the matchup between Pringle and Melton. They've known each other from way back, have played against each other back in their high school days even.
Lansdowne High School in Virginia Beach.
There's a lot of history between these two guys, and they haven't disappointed. Both guys have stepped up for each of their squads.
If there was a starting five in the ABL tomorrow, I'd definitely pick those two. It'd be hard to choose between them, actually.
Free throw's good. Lead back down to 12. With a minute remaining in the third, here's John Smith bringing it out of the backcourt. Gets tipped from behind by Melton, but Thomas saves it. Here's Pringle. Warriors have got to settle back down into their offense. Daniels catches the lob pass inside. Gets free, gets it to Pringle. Pringle's shot is blocked into the hands of Daniels with another attempt. And again, Daniels gets a third attempt to go down, plus the foul.
Let's look at that. He just never gave up. Relentless, Paul. Relentless.
You know, coaches love players like this, that they stay on their toes. They don't fully go down on the ground. They stay with that ball and keep hopping up those little hops and are quicker to get to the ball. And Chris Daniels is very good at that.
42 seconds left. 14-point lead. This game is still winnable for the Dragons, Paul. I believe that. It's an uphill battle, but I think in the fourth quarter we'll see Gavin Edwards coming into it, and he's going to play smart because he is on 4 fouls.
The Warriors still with 1 foul to give here in this quarter. The Dragons are over the bonus situation already. Here's Hubbard, sends up another three, and the rebound easily handled by Thomas. There's about a 1-second differential between the shot clock and the game clock as we get set to close out the third quarter. Pringle up top. Here comes Daniels. Pringle splits the D and puts it off the glass. 3 seconds remaining. Armand will try to get a shot off, and it misses it right. 63-47, the lead at 16 for the defending champions as they are 10 minutes away from returning to the ABL Finals. We will break for a moment. When we return, the fourth quarter of the AirAsia 2013 ABL Playoffs on Fox Sports. quarters of play in the books as the semi-final round, game 3 here between the Indonesia Warriors and the Westports Malaysia Dragons, taking place at Maba Stadium in Kuala Lumpur. 63-47 lead for the Indonesia Warriors. Throughout 3 quarters, the Dragons have had problems during stints offensively as well with fouls. What have they got to do here in the final 10 minutes to really challenge and push us to a game 4?
2 things, Paul. Get shots, get stops. You know, we spoke about that. I mean, Carl Jeffley spoke about that in game 2. And just be a bit more aggressive on rebounding. At the moment, the stats are in the favor of the Indonesia Warriors. That is their strength. 35 rebounds to 26. Chris Daniels on 26 points. And yet, Julius Armon for the Dragons on 10 points. And Justin Melton having another stellar performance on 15 points. But these points will mean for nothing if you can't catch up. Marcus Hubbard still walking awkwardly over the last couple of quarters, and in this quarter as Dodo Satepu gets things underway.
So now the Dragons have got 10 minutes to salvage their season and extend this to a 4th game. If they're successful in doing so, they'll push this to a game taking place here on Friday.
Well, Gavin Edwards, the man they call G, is back on the floor. He's got to be careful with his foul trouble, but he can make a difference because he can shoot the ball. Marcus Hubbard was trying to carry a bit of the shooting responsibility in the 3rd quarter.
So 2 players for the Dragons with 4 fouls. John Ung also a foul away from being out of the game. Here's Wusong breaking out for the basket. Guga fouls him, and Wusong shows that he's got some legs on him and beats everyone down the floor for the 2 and the foul.
This could be a 19-point lead very, very shortly.
Wusong ices it from the free throw line, and the lead is 65-47. Here's Guga. Bounces it inside to Tautua. Back outside to Edwards. He puts it up. Tautua is almost there for the rebound, but Hubbard gets it. And his putback is no good. Back to Indonesia. Jarek Kanyada. He's got Daniels, Thomas, Smith, and Wusong to start the 4th for the Warriors. Misses the layup, and Hubbard quickly gets the rebound up to Guga. It's Guga, Hubbard, Tautua, Edwards, and Melton for the Dragons here in the 4th. Edwards catches the bounce pass inside, and Daniels catches him before the shot attempt, so the basket will not count. They call that foul before the shot.
So he'll go to the line. Dato' Wira, one of the co-owners of the Westports Malaysia Dragons, he's sitting on the bench with the Dragons.
Here's the inbound. Guga fires across court to Tautua, and he knocks down a 3. A much-needed 3-pointer for the Dragons.
Tautua has been quiet in this game. He can hit him sometimes when he gets in a rhythm.
Ball tipped out of bounds by Tautua. The Indonesia possession from the sideline. Inbounds to Kanyada. Warriors. Warrior guards now moving without the ball as Kanyada takes it along the baseline over to Wusong for 3. Misses the shot. Malaysia quickly getting up the other way. Tautua now. 2 baskets in a row for the Dragons. He's feeling it.
On a 2-0 run. They can get another run. Go, keep that run continuing. Then it's all good. We have a ball game. That's all I want today, Bull. A good ball game.
Daniels hits the deck on that screen. They call it a pushing foul. Has not been indicated who it's charged to. John Smith will come out of the game as Pringle checks back in.
Now, players like Pringle and Kanyada, 2 players the Warriors will be looking to get that penetration because of their speed. So that's something that the Dragons have to be wary of.
Inside, gets free. And it rattles out for him. Edwards is there. Both hands on the rebound. And Melton behind the back. Some nifty dribbling from Justin Melton. And Guga passes it to no one. Another miscommunication as Tautua was, well, the pass was meant for Tautua. Guga will come out of the game. Armand checks back in.
So no locals, no local Malaysians in the starting five for the Malaysia team. This is an all-international team. 3 ASEAN imports, 2 American imports. They're just gonna go for it, Paul. Kenyatta trying to beat Edwards. Drives to the basket, rejection.
What a size mismatch we got there.
Well, 5'7" versus 6'9". You do the math.
One of the tallest guys on the floor. The rejection of one of the smaller, fastest guys. But Indonesia will have it back with 7 seconds on the shot clock. Wusong puts it off the back of Armand on the inbounds. Daniels over back to Wusong for 3, and he rattles it home. Mario Wusong shutting down the little run there by the Dragons. Dragons have got to leave it all on the floor, but they turn the ball over as Hubbard gets his pass stolen. Pringle there to intercept. Here's Stan Pringle. It's around Melton. Daniels. Thomas. Nice give and go between the 2 former collegiate teammates as Thomas puts it back up, misses it. Here come the Dragons. They have numbers. Tautua. And foul on the play. Jared Kanyada will send Tautua to the free throw line.
Well, in a situation like that, you can afford to foul a little bit with a lead like this. So the only thing you'll give away really in situations like that is points. Wala Tautua, his average free throw percentage during the season is 62%. But his free throw game has come a long way, something that he's worked on a lot. And we saw that in that very, very intense game that we called, Paul, when these 2 teams played that historical game on the 17th of May for the triple overtime here at Maba.
Yeah, that's almost 2 games in one with 7 periods of play. Tautua calmly knocks down 2 free throws. You know that's got to be a lot of pressure to be down 2-0 in a series in the 4th quarter and knock down 2 free throws. It's not like in the regular season. As he cuts the lead back down to 15. Here's Thomas, spins his way inside, a block by Hubbard. A clean block. Coach Purvis could not believe it. He wanted the goaltend, but Hubbard got there just in time for the block.
Coach Purvis got to be careful. Kenyatta's got the ball. Wusong for the 3.
Ooh, that's 2 in a row for Mario Wusong. He may have eaten the mushroom at the halftime break and turned it to Super Mario. And back-to-back 3-pointers stretches his lead back out to 18. Melton now on the move. He loses it. And it'll be back to Indonesia. So 72-54 with 6 minutes remaining in this game. It's do or die time. Season on the line for Malaysia now.
One thing they've got to realize, the Dragons, Paul, when Indonesia going to the offensive set is where Mario Wusong is. I think that's something they didn't expect. He likes to move in and out, cross each perimeter, opposite perimeter, to the corners. He's just floating about.
And that's what makes these 3 guards so difficult to guard. They like to rotate so well. And it's Kenyatta now takes it outside the 3-point line. Melton on him. Pringle, a mismatch with Tautua. He takes the jumper, and it's good. Right now, the Indonesia Warriors are on fire. As a timeout is called on the floor, the Warriors have pushed this to a 20-point lead, the biggest of the game so far. Another timeout is called on the floor here. We'll take a short break. We'll be right back on AirAsia ABL Playoffs 2013 on Fox. 5:40 remaining here in Game 3, a deciding game for the Westports Malaysia Dragons. If they're unable to make up this deficit, 74-54, the lead is at 20. For the defending champion Indonesia Warriors, they're 5 minutes 40 seconds away from returning to the ABL finals to meet the winners of the Bierman Slammers series. Bierman leading 2-1 in that semifinal round. Here's Gavin Edwards, tries to pass it to Hubbard, and another turnover, that will not do it, as Cañada will slow it down for the Warriors. Thomas facing up on Edwards. Plenty of player movement without the ball. There's what you were talking about. Mario Wusong getting open for three. Cannot get that one to go down.
Well, after 3 quarters, he was 3 from 5. Julius Armon shoots.
Stan Pringle get up there with the bigs for that rebound. So the Warriors being very selfish, not allowing the Dragons any offensive rebounds or second chance attempts.
Well, you play it to the whistle blows, Paul. That's what it's all about. Cañada spinning. He's driving out to the basket. Here come the Dragons. Can they hit back? Melton crossover. Kicks out. Fake. To Hubbard again. Nobody's confident and wants to take that shot. Edwards.
And cutting Tautua gets fouled on his way to the basket. Gets the basket to go down, and a possible 3-point play right here.
There's a lot of talk in the Dragons starting 5, Paul, at the moment, which is great, but just a lot of very, very frustrated faces.
Yeah, they're moving the ball very well. There's no problem with the passing. They're just not able to knock down that shot when they really need to. Well, Tautua will try to cut the lead from the charity strike. And does so, shooting very well from the free throw line, but they're still down big here in the fourth. Cañada getting hassled in the backcourt. Tautua staying with him every step of the way. Hands off to Pringle, fires it inside to Thomas, and he gets fouled from behind. If that's on Edwards, no, I believe it's on Armand, who came over to help out from the weak side. Fortunate for the Dragons.
The crowd tonight expected a tight one, and Malaysia was hoping the crowd would be that 6th man. A few things didn't go the Dragons' way tonight.
And not only do they have to make up the deficit, they've got 3 players with 4 fouls and 2 players with 3 fouls. So, you know, they've got definitely a hill to climb ahead of them.
Yes, that's true. But Indonesia will try to run down the clock as much as possible. Only 4 minutes plus left.
75-57. And here's Melton. Thomas gets back quickly for the block, but he catches him with the foul. And it'll be 2 free throws coming up for Justin Melton. And that's a 3rd foul against Steve Thomas. And, you know, plays like this bodes well for the Westports Malaysia Dragons, as that stops the clock, allows them to cut into the lead a little bit from the free throw line and get back defensively.
Well, Melton, his free throw percentage is 57% during the season. He had a great game in game 2, 28 points. Really showed us why he's called Mighty Mouse Melton with his athletic moves.
Really put the team on his back with his confidence. Yeah. And Coach Van Guardia, really a lot of pressure with 4 minutes remaining and his season on the line, trying to get his team kick-started into high gear here in the fourth.
Well, he's just going to tell his guys, go for it, guys. Well, what do you got to lose?
Here's Cañada. He gets wrapped up in center court. Finds Smith. Some intense defense here from the Dragons. Pringle trying to slow it down. Crossover in the lane. And a little floater, and that is classic Stan Pringle.
Stan Pringle, that's what he does best. You know, this guy, you wouldn't think he had a meniscus injury at the start of the season. Gavin Edwards tries to drive, but the clock is ticking, Paul, and it's not looking good.
He's telling the story for the Dragons right there. Gavin Edwards makes his way back down the floor after that turnover. Steve Thomas, Edwards out on him. Pringle posting up Melton. Here's the key matchup of the series right here. And Melton all in his face, but Thomas is there to gather up the miss. Smith misses from outside. Here's Edwards with the rebound. And with 3 minutes remaining, the Dragons have really got to put it together now or never. Here's Hubbard. Pass is tipped into the hands of Cañada.
Well, you're not going to go anywhere with passes like that.
Stan Pringle calling out for Thomas. Thomas at the elbow, gets it back to Pringle. Wow, Pringle sidesteps around Gavin Edwards, and the Warriors right now having their way inside, outside on the offensive and defensive end. There you have a look at Stan Pringle as he gets around Edwards and puts up a nice soft shot.
That is arguably one of the best plays of the day, probably a contender for our RHB play of the day. Great athletic movement there by Stan Pringle.
And we've seen him do that plenty of times. It's just hard to contain a player that can go in any direction at any given time. And right now, the Dragons have really got their backs against the wall.
21 points. It's not looking good, but the Dragons will put it out everything. I mean, one of the things I must notice, Paul, about this game, Gavin Edwards, he was probably too aware of his foul trouble, because he's the kind of guy that goes inside the paint to try to block and help out the bigs as well, especially with a team like Indonesia, who do have some quality bigs in terms of Daniels and Thomas. Marcus Hubbard, he found it hard to find another gear because of his injury. He's used to driving hard to the basket, getting dunks. He had to revert to outside shooting, something he doesn't do very consistently. Justin Melton driving hard to the basket and sometimes turning the ball over. Can't fault the man for effort.
So the Dragons having to deal with foul trouble in game 2 and now in game 3 as well. Action taking place back on the court in the final 2.5 minutes. The Dragons do not want to replicate their final 2.5 minutes from game 2, and they will try to close this out strong, down by 21. The Warriors on their way to defending their title, but standing in their way are the Westports Malaysia Dragons, and about 2.5 minutes. Here's Stan Pringle. He's got Armand in his sights. Pringle around the Daniel screen, loses the handle, out of bounds, off the hands of John Ung.
That's a fair call by the referees. We had a very good view of that.
The action on this side of the course happens right in front of us, as we see John Smith now set to inbound. Dragons all over the Warriors on the inbounds pass. Here's Daniels on the drive, leaves it off the glass. Thomas there picks up the rebound and gets it stuck between the rim and the glass. That's something new.
Well, that's something you don't see every day.
Seen that off a shot, but not off a layup.
Usually it's the small guys who do that, but the big men?
So that will be possession back to the Warriors with a fresh shot clock. Pringle spins, loses his defender badly. Edwards slow to get back. As Pringle will shave some more time off the clock. Pringle makes his move, gets tied up inside by Armand. And the Warriors quick to get over to help up Pringle. And that will be a foul, a fourth foul, I believe, on Julius Armand. So now 4 Dragons with 4 fouls apiece.
Doesn't really matter, Paul. 1 minute and 45 to go. They're down by 21, potentially 22, 23.
I'm still amazed at how well they're managing their foul trouble. Not a single player has fouled out of the game, and yet there are so many fouls across the board. Pringle makes it an 81-58 lead. 23 points, the biggest of the game so far by the Warriors. They're looking to close this out strong. And if they do, they'll take the semifinal round in a series sweep. Here's Armand.
We didn't expect that.
Definitely not. I called this in 5 games. That's what I think
we all did.
Here's Edwards. It's fouled on the drive. And Coach Todd Purvis telling his squad not to foul because that just stops the clock and allows the Dragons some more time.
Well, 1 minute and 32 seconds. That would be the comeback of all comebacks. Have you ever seen that, Paul Pelele?
Not yet, not today, but you know, I never say never. Because as you say, anything can happen, and Edwards will try to close this lead back down to 21 with 1.5 minutes remaining. It seems unlikely, but still possible. Amin Priantono into the game now as the Dragons press. The Warriors break the press easily. Kanyada will pull it back to center court. And Smith dribbles it around and gets tied up. It will be a jump ball as Armand quickly gets his hands on the ball, and back to Malaysia goes.
A situation like that's called hell ball on FIFA rules. So they'll just reverse it back to the Dragons. We're so used to that call, jump ball.
Here's Armand. Dragons will need some quick scores. Do not get one there. Out of bounds, tipped by Thomas. Still Dragons possession.
I think now, Paul, they just might go for a few threes. See if they can get some momentum and lift going. 1 minute.
This is the time to do it. Melton had 5 of them in the last game. Dribbles it through the legs of Edwards, but gets it back somehow. And here he comes. It flies out of his hands on the drive.
And here, Coach Todd Purvis giving Sven de Ritter, the man with an Indonesian parent.
That's right. So if you're watching this at home, he's actually one of the local players for Indonesia. Don't be fooled.
Looks are deceiving.
And one of the most well-liked players on the team. Sven de Ritter into the game now with John Smith, Kanyada, Daniels, and Amin Priantono. Under a minute to go, Smith cannot get the pass to Swen. And Armand back the other way, and this is the 3 that we expected. On its way, with the offensive rebound, cannot get it to go down, but Edwards is there to clean it up. Donnie Restanto ready to check into the game now. And it looks like Coach Todd Purvis is just going to rest the remainder of his starters for the remainder of the game with under 30 seconds to go.
So for the 4th consecutive season in the ABL, the Westports Malaysia Dragons will go out in the semi-final stage. First season losing to the AirAsia Patriots, last season to the San Miguel Beermen, and now to the defending champions on their home court, the Indonesia Warriors, who will march on and take on the winner of the Sports Rev Thailand Slammers and the San Miguel Beermen.
And it could be a game decider tomorrow. You can catch that on Fox Sports. Slammers take to their home court against the Beermen, down 2-1 in the series. Edwards with a late basket. As we look to wrap things up here in the final seconds. But as you said, the Dragons, very consistent, make the playoffs every year, however, unable to get over the hump. And again, this year, they will go out in the semifinal round in 3 games. The Indonesia Warriors confidently taking Game 3 here at Maba Stadium. 81-64 is the final scoreline. And unfortunately for the Westports Malaysia Dragons, that'll do it for their season. Amazing performance throughout the series by Justin Melton, but unable to get a win for the home side here. The Indonesia Warriors will have Friday off since there's no Game 4 plus Game 5 that was to take place early next week. So they'll have a break, which might be good for them, considering they'll be facing either the Beermen or the Slammers. We're going to break shortly, but when we return, we're going to wrap things up right here from Maba. We'll be right back. AirAsia 2013 ABL Playoffs on Fox Sports. We wrap up Game 3 here at Mamba Stadium. 81-64 reads the final scoreline. Let's go now to Lenore Lau, who's got Coach Todd Permies from the Indonesia Warriors. Lynn?
Thank you very much, guys. Coach, congratulations. Score of 64-81. Gosh, what must you say for your team? You managed to go all the way to the final.
Well, first of all, I want to congratulate the KL Dragons. They had a great season and an outstanding team and a class organization. And to be honest, I'm extremely proud. But that's always relative to how good your opponent is. And so I am proud because I know that's how good the KL Dragons are, and I'm very excited to be moving on to the championship.
Moving on to the championship, you don't know yet whether it's going to be the Beermen or the Slammers, but are you ready? Do you have this right strategy for either team?
Well, we're prepared for both teams, and then come time, I think there's a week ahead of time that we'll have for further preparation, and mentally and physically, I think we're where we want to be, playing our best basketball right now.
Thank you very much, Coach. Congratulations once again, and enjoy the celebration. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Lynn. So, Ben, let's summarize things here. The Dragons never really got it going after a strong first quarter.
Very strong first quarter. The injuries to Marcus Hubbard, Justin Melton coming out, that sort of affected the game strategy a bit. But the biggest thing that really affected the team psychologically is Marcus Hubbard, and they had to change their game plan there, but they couldn't quite change it. And they turned the ball over 21 times, and rebounding was not very solid. I must say, Indonesia out-rebounded Malaysia, not just tonight, but in the whole series. So reflections for next season for the Westports Malaysia Dragons is rebounding and protecting the ball, especially rebounding, because this team has got some pretty solid bigs.
Yeah, I mean, a great Dragon squad this year, but still unable to get past that semi-final round. Of course, they had some bad luck. Marcus Hubbard out for the first 2 games, unable to get things going here in the 3rd game due to a gimpy right leg after getting hit early in the first quarter. What kind of retooling do they need to do in the offseason?
Well, one thing they've got to do is they've got to maintain this team if they can. But here comes Justin Melton. He had a stellar game today. He had 16 points. What a basket. But unfortunately, not much of that. Steve Demon Thomas, the big man, he was pretty good as well. He turned the ball over there. Marcus Hubbard, look at this limb. And look, Marcus Hubbard in situations like that, he would go for a 2-handed flush, but he just, sort of tipped it in and playing it safe.
That's an injured Marcus Hubbard. Can you imagine a healthy Marcus Hubbard? Look at him flying.
Yeah, more healthy Marcus Hubbard really makes the difference. And I must say, in my opinion, Paul, tonight Marcus Hubbard's injury was a huge factor. Him missing in the first 2 games was the difference. And yep, Armon, they needed more shots like that from him. He really tried all night. He tried all night to turn over here. And Julius Armon attacking the basket, fake, and what a drive. That's what we love to see in the ASEAN Basketball League, especially in season 2013. Marcus Hubbard for the jumper and connects.
So we saw a lot of outside shots taken by Hubbard, but not much on the inside. He didn't really play a lot on the inside after being knocked down in the first quarter. Now the Indonesia Warriors, with a very strong second half, really controlling the pace of the game, able to get out in transition and really knocking down those threes, especially Mario Wusong.
Well, Mario Wusong was 17 points. He was left on the perimeter unguarded at times, and he took advantage of that. Sometimes Mario Wusong doesn't have a good shooting night, sometimes he does. But tonight, he was very, very good. He hit 4 out of 8 3-pointers, so 50% from the 3-point line. So that also made a little bit of a difference for the shooting. And Stan Pringle, this man with 24 points, we know what he can do, and he is back almost to his best. He missed 10 weeks of the season with a meniscus injury, and his form will be crucial for the Indonesia Warriors for the finals. Whoever they take on, look at the stats here. Turnovers, 21-11. That was the biggest one. Rebounds, surprisingly, 36 to Malaysia, 40. A better rebounding effort. And then look at the three-point percentage, 38 to 25. And they were quite equal in the field goal percentage.
Yeah, and then you can notice they have a higher field goal percentage for the Dragons, but that is what controlling the boards and getting out for those second chance points, those fast break points will do. It gets you those big leads, and that's what the Warriors did in the second half.
Well, that's what the Indonesia Warriors do. They do box out well, and they do rebound pretty hard, so full credit to them.
We're going to wrap things up after this short break, but don't go anywhere. We've got the upcoming schedules for the other side of the semifinal round series. Right after this, don't go anywhere. This is AirAsia ABL 2013 playoffs on Fox Sports. Back here in Maba Stadium, we've just wrapped things up. A series sweep for the Indonesia Warriors. Stan Pringle with 24 points in Game 3. He's standing by with our Lenore Lau.
Thanks, guys. Player of the game, 24 points and 8 rebounds. Stanley, are you starting to feel like your old self again?
I'm looking to try to get better. You know, every day I'm just gonna say better. You know, my knee is fine. Just, you know, I'm never gonna be satisfied. I always want to get better. So.
You basically have no fear. You did some crazy movement under the net there just now. What was going through your mind when you were sweeping through all those players?
I actually was thinking about throwing the ball away and not, you know, controlling the ball. So I had to make something happen. You know, I didn't feel too happy about my turnovers.
So what's the one thing that you want to improve for the next 2 games that's coming up?
Improve? I want to sit down and, you know, watch film. San Miguel's going to play one more game or, you know, maybe 2 more. And, you know, just break down and see how they play, you know, and have a game plan, you know, talk it down. I'm sure coach is going to chop them up. So, you know, be a little bit more focused with that.
So you basically watch films and strategize. Okay.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Okay, thanks so much, Stanley. Congratulations again. Once again, that's your player of the game. 24 points, 8 rebounds. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Lynn. We'll now take it to our RHB play of the game. And it comes to us. Ben, let's take us through it.
Let's have a look here. And Steve Thomas then gets stripped of the ball here. Marcus Hubbard limping. And Justin Melton alley-oop. And Marcus Hubbard just tips it in with 2 hands. He wants to go for the dunk. That was a great move. And why that's made the RHB player of the day is that because Marcus Hubbard was playing at almost 50% fall. So, yeah, that was a great play. Unfortunately, for the Dragons, they lose today's game, and that is their season over for the Indonesia Warriors. They march into the final and a chance to go back-to-back.
A chance to defend their title in the finals as they take a week break. There you have a look at the Beermen with a 2-1 series lead. They have a chance to wrap things up tomorrow night in Nimibut Stadium in Bangkok. If they do, they will meet the Indonesia Warriors in a rematch of last year's finals. And if the Slammers tie it up, they'll take it to a Game 5 back at Yunara Sports Arena on Monday, June 3rd next week. That'll do it for us this week. On behalf of all of us here in the ABL, and also on behalf of Lenore Lau, Ben Ibrahim, myself, Paul Pirelli, we'll see you in the finals. This has been the AirAsia 2013 ABL Playoffs on Fox Sports. Good night from Kuala Lumpur.